Well, there you have it, the State of the Union-like address, the joint session of Congress, the president returning to the presidency and giving his first speech to this joint body. You see the Democrats filing out. They sat on their hands almost the entire night tonight, even during, lovely addresses to cancer patients and people who had been killed by criminal migrants and their families. But in the beginning of the speech tonight, Johnson had to actually gavel to order because it was so rambunctious in the chamber that he actually had to have Representative Al Green, who at least 3 times has called for the impeachment of President Trump and has done it again in this term, removed from the chamber. So this was a very rowdy opening to this speech that went on to do a lot in terms of listing some wacky Doge spendings and much more.
And you see the president shaking the chart. Let's listen in here. You know, the Democrats' protest actually started before the president entered that chamber. The Democrats on the bipartisan escort committee, the group that walks the president in, did not show up for that job. The president touted the almost 100 executive orders, the 400 executive actions in 43 days that he said restored common sense. He spent a pretty good amount of time, as you mentioned, going through the specifics of what was found in Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, singling out Elon Musk, listing the millions that were found in detail. And many of the Democrats held up signs saying Musk steals and false. But the best moment, emotional moment, was DJ, who's battling cancer. He wanted to be a police officer. And during the speech, the president said the Secret Service has made him an agent. Even in that moment, the gallery was split. There was a major announcement on shipbuilding. And actually, during this speech, China announced a 7.2% increase in Chinese defense spending for this year. That's almost 15% over the last 2 years. He didn't single out China, but he did say they're close to a deal on Ukraine and Russia.
So we are back with our panel, Brit Hume, Dana Perino, Harold Ford Jr., and Larry Kudlow. There's also a letter from Zelensky, which we'll get to in just a moment. But, Brit, let's get your thoughts. This was the longest speech. He is now the record holder for the longest speech to joint session of Congress, beating Bill Clinton.
This was the most boisterous, the longest, the most partisan speech I've ever heard a president give in this kind of setting, and I go back about maybe 50 years on this. I also think it may have been the most effective. I mean, if you ever doubted that Donald Trump is the colossus, the political colossus of our time and our nation, this night and this speech should have put that to rest. The Democrats seem to be falling into trap after trap after trap as he recognized these people and celebrated the people he pointed to in the gallery and their stories, while the Democrats sat glumly on their hands through all of that. It was a terrible look. Al Green's attempt to disrupt the speech was a bad look for the Democrats. This was I think, politically speaking, this was pretty powerful stuff, as powerful as I think I've heard.
Let's listen in just a second as we hear them greeting each other.
Thank you.
Mr. President, that was a great speech.
That was
awesome.
Marjorie Taylor Greene with a hat that says Trump was right about everything, is the hat that she is wearing in the chamber there. Harold, your thoughts on the speech, Democrats' reaction, where we are?
I think that Brit nailed it. I'd say this to my party. We have to win on ideas. The disruption was not a good look for the Congress. And as passionate as the Congressman Green may have felt, that was not the right moment to do that. The litany of things this president did during this speech, from the young man you mentioned, I think he even let a young man into West Point tonight whose family was there. He talked about police officers who had been slain and their loved ones who survive us. It was a far-ranging speech. It reminded me a little bit of the everyday people that we saw in Milwaukee, where they saluted and lifted up the stories and lifted up the heroism of those who have been so great to our country. He didn't really try to bring the country together with rhetoric. He really tried to bring the country together around stories about people. The real work will start tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. But congratulations to the president tonight.
Dana, Democrats could have brought people together if they had stood up in some of those moments, which should be things that everybody can celebrate. But what really stood out to you tonight?
Well, at the beginning of the speech, he started off by saying, "There's nothing I can say that is going to make you clap for me." And then they proved him right. Now, many Democrats did not defend Al Green as he was escorted out. They didn't fight that. Many other Democrats left during this and went and did little videos. But I think that what it showed is that the Democratic Party still has no common sense. They have no ideas, and they have no heart. They couldn't even stand for the most inspiring moments of this speech.
Larry, there were multiple times where he talked about tariffs, and that's obviously a rocky road if you look at the markets over the last couple of days and people talking about it. In that, he said there will be a little disturbance, but we're okay with that.
Yes.
But I heard your reaction when he also talked about tax cuts and expenses for businesses.
Yes, this was such a colossally positive, upbeat. It's like America has no limit speech. And I love the fact that he unleashing prosperity through tax cuts. In fact, he said we're going to make them retroactive to January 1st on the business investment side, which is going to be so well received by companies and the stock market tomorrow. And I think the tariff thing, Brett, you have to put it in the context of all the other things he talked about. He talked about drilling and liquid gold. Yes, the tax cuts. He spent a lot of time. We're cutting spending with Doge. He hit all those. He's sort of saying, look, we have an economic policy that is unlimited. We're going to carry the country forward. Whether you believe him or not, I think it was just an incredibly optimistic vision.